Jules Winfield. Jules Winfield is one of the most iconic characters in Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. Played by Samuel L. Jackson, Jules is a philosophical hitman whose character arc represents one of the few complete moral transformations in Tarantino's filmography. He works for Marcellus Wallace, a powerful crime boss, and is first introduced alongside his partner Vincent Vega. The two are enforcers tasked with recovering a briefcase stolen from Marcellus. Jules enters scenes with a calm yet intimidating presence. He speaks in a rhythm that blends streetwise swagger with biblical formality, creating a persona that is both terrifying and charismatic. His most famous speech, Ezekiel 25:17,
Ezekiel 25:17
is delivered before executing someone. Though the passage is fabricated from multiple biblical phrases and Tarantino's own writing, it becomes Jules's ritual, part performance, part justification for murder. The early version of Jules is methodical and unflinching. He believes in divine justice, but only as a means to control the situation. He uses scripture like a weapon. His outward calm belies a man completely at ease with violence. However, everything changes during the apartment shootout scene. After executing one man and interrogating another, a third man bursts from the bathroom and fires at Jules and Vincent point blank and misses every shot. This is the turning point. Jules perceives it as a divine intervention, a literal miracle. Vincent, however, writes it off as luck. This moment triggers a complete shift in Jules's worldview. He begins to question his role, his past choices, and the meaning behind his actions. In the diner scene, where Pumpkin and Honey Bunny attempt a robbery, Jules holds them at gunpoint but chooses not to kill them. Instead, he delivers a controlled, introspective monologue, once again referencing Ezekiel 25:17. This time, he analyzes it. He admits he used to think he was the righteous man, delivering wrath on the evil, but now he sees himself as the evil man, and the righteous man is trying to walk the path of virtue. He spares the robbers and gives them money to escape. In doing so, he completes his character arc, not through redemption in the traditional sense, but by choosing to leave his violent life behind. Jules is rare among Tarantino's creations. He evolves. He doesn't just react to events, he reflects on them. His character explores themes of fate, morality, and personal transformation. Most Tarantino characters are trapped by their nature, driven by revenge, greed, or nihilism. Jules steps away from all that. By the end of Pulp Fiction, he chooses a different path. His legacy is cemented not only by his sharp dialogue and iconic performance but by the philosophical depth beneath the surface. He is both a product of Tarantino's ultra-violent world and a rejection of it. Mr. Blonde. Mr. Blonde, whose real name is Vic Vega, is a cold-blooded and unpredictable enforcer in Quentin Tarantino's debut film, Reservoir Dogs. Played by Michael Madsen, he is the embodiment of sadistic calm, a man who seems completely at ease in the most violent and chaotic situations. His unpredictability is what sets him apart, even among a group of hardened criminals. He is introduced post-heist, entering the warehouse hideout with a drink in hand and a relaxed demeanor, despite the massacre that just occurred. While other characters are panicked and bleeding, Mr. Blonde appears composed and detached. This initial impression tells the audience everything they need to know. Vega is dangerous, not because he is out of control, but because he's always in control. That control allows him to inflict violence without hesitation or remorse. His most infamous scene comes midway through the film, when he tortures a captured police officer, Marvin Nash. The other criminals leave him alone in the warehouse with Nash, trusting that he won't do anything reckless. What follows is one of the most disturbing sequences in Tarantino's career. With Stuck in the Middle with You playing in the background, Mr. Blonde dances casually before slicing off Nash's ear with a straight razor. He then pours gasoline on him, intending to set him on fire. The contrast between the upbeat music and the brutal violence highlights Mr. Blonde's psychopathy. What makes Vic Vega particularly unnerving is his lack of justification. Unlike many of Tarantino's characters who act out of revenge or desperation, Mr. Blonde seems to enjoy violence for its own sake. When confronted by his partners, he doesn't apologize. He defends his actions by saying the cop would have done the same to him if the roles were reversed, but that defense rings hollow. His enjoyment during the torture sequence tells a different story. Earlier in the film, we learn that Vic had just gotten out of prison after serving time without snitching. He was rewarded with a place on the heist team, seen as loyal and trustworthy. Joe Cabot, the crime boss, treats him like family. That loyalty is key to Vic's character. He believes in a strict code, but it's his own twisted version of it. He won't betray his boss, but he has no problem killing civilians or torturing hostages. When the final standoff occurs, Vic's true motives are revealed. He accuses Mr. Orange of being the rat and threatens to kill him. Before he can act, Mr. Orange shoots him dead, revealing that he is indeed the undercover cop. Mr. Blonde dies not in a blaze of glory, but mid-sentence, shot by the man he was about to execute. Mr. Blonde is a key figure in Tarantino's universe. He's terrifying not because he shouts or loses control, but because he doesn't need to. The Bride, also known as Beatrix Kiddo, is the central figure of Tarantino's Kill Bill saga. Played by Thurman, she is a former assassin seeking vengeance on the team that betrayed her. Her arc is a journey from death to rebirth, from a victim of extreme violence to its masterful wielder. When the story begins, Beatrix is left for dead at her wedding rehearsal, brutally attacked by the deadly Viper assassination squad, her former colleagues. She was pregnant at the time. After spending 4 years in a coma, she awakens with only one thought: revenge. Her mission is methodical and structured. She creates a hit list and crosses off each name with surgical precision. Beatrix's skills are beyond extraordinary. Trained by legendary martial arts master Pai Mei, she possesses a combination of discipline, endurance, and lethal ability. She's not superhuman, but her resolve makes her seem that way. In Volume 1, she single-handedly fights off the crazy 88 dozens of armed combatants with a katana. The fight is stylized and graphic, but what stands out is her calm focus. She's not driven by rage in the moment. She's executing a plan. Each enemy on her list is more than a name. They are personal. O-Ren, Ishii, Vernita Green, Bud, and L-Driver all have history with her. Tarantino carefully stages each confrontation to reveal not just Beatrix's strength, but her emotional complexity. Her duel with O-Ren in the snow-covered garden is respectful and almost mournful. With Vernita Green, it's raw and brutal, interrupted only by a child, a reminder of the life Beatrix was denied. She spares that child, hinting at the humanity still inside her. In Volume 2, the narrative slows down, focusing more on her backstory. We learn her real name, Beatrix Kiddo, and see her training under Pai Mei. Her strength isn't just physical, it's mental. She survives a coffin burial, breaks through solid wood using the 5-point palm exploding heart technique, and never loses sight of her goal. Beatrix's final confrontation with Bill is not a brawl, but a conversation. It's loaded with subtext: a father talking to the mother of his child, a mentor confronting his prodigy, a killer facing his equal. She uses the technique Pai Mei taught her, killing Bill with 5 steps. It's clinical, quiet, and filled with closure. The bride stands apart in Tarantino's gallery of characters. She's not a villain, though she kills dozens. She's not a hero, though her suffering is immense. She is a woman reclaiming her agency. Every battle she fights is a statement that survival is possible, that pain can be overcome, and that vengeance, while costly, is sometimes the only path forward. Django Freeman is the protagonist of Django Unchained, Quentin Tarantino's brutal, revisionist western set in the antebellum South. Played by Jamie Foxx, Django is a former slave-turned-bounty hunter on a mission to rescue his wife from a brutal plantation owner. His journey is one of empowerment, vengeance, and self-definition in a world built to deny all three. When Django is introduced, he is chained and walking barefoot in a line of slaves. He's immediately singled out by Dr. King Schultz, a German dentist-turned-bounty hunter, who kills Django's captors and offers him a deal: help identify a group of wanted men, and he'll earn his freedom. Django quickly proves to be an adept marksman and intelligent tracker. What begins as a transaction evolves into a mentor-student relationship. Schultz recognizes Django's potential, treating him not as a subordinate but as an equal. This early partnership is essential. It gives Django the tools he needs to rise above the role society assigned him. Django's transformation is visual and symbolic. He goes from shackled and shirtless to wearing tailored suits, riding horses, and commanding respect. He adopts the dress and demeanor of a Western hero, not to mimic white culture, but to claim the same autonomy and dignity. His very existence becomes a rebellion. White characters are stunned and infuriated by his confidence. He refuses to bow, speak passively, or wait for permission. In a society built on black submission, Django is an anomaly and a threat. The heart of Django's arc is his love for his wife, Broomhilda. They were separated and sold to different owners. His mission is not revenge for revenge's sake. It's to reunite his family. This emotional anchor makes his violence purposeful. Every shot fired, every scheme executed, brings him closer to that goal. When he and Schultz arrive at Candyland, the plantation owned by Calvin Candy, the stakes escalate. Candy, played with venomous charm by Leonardo DiCaprio, is a sadistic slaver who hosts brutal fights between enslaved men for entertainment. Django must play along, pretending to be complicit in order to infiltrate the system and retrieve Broomhilda. The scenes at Candyland are charged with psychological warfare. Django must suppress his rage, endure humiliation, and navigate treacherous terrain. The moment Schultz breaks and kills Candy, the plan falls apart. In the chaos that follows, Django is captured, tortured, and nearly sold back into slavery. But he escapes, and this is where his transformation is complete. He turns the tools of oppression against his oppressors. He tricks, outguns, and outsmarts his enemies. In the climactic shootout, he single-handedly dismantles the plantation's hierarchy, symbolically burning it to the ground. Django is the first fully heroic black lead in Tarantino's filmography. He's not defined by trauma or vengeance alone. He's a man reclaiming his independence. By the end, he is no longer just a man with a mission. He is a legend. The slave has become the gunslinger, the hunted has become the hunter, and his story is one of defiance etched into Tarantino's blood-soaked cinematic history. Rick Dalton is a fading television actor in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Quentin Tarantino's nostalgic look at the shifting tides of 1960s Los Angeles. Played by Leonardo DiCaprio, Rick is a man caught between eras, once a leading man on network TV, now struggling to maintain relevance in an industry that's rapidly evolving beyond him. His character arc is one of insecurity, self-worth, and eventual redefinition. Rick first appears as a self-pitying but talented actor whose golden years are behind him. He gained fame as the star of the TV Western Bounty Law, but that fame didn't translate to lasting success in film. Now, he's taking roles as villains in guest spots on newer shows, a sign in Hollywood that your career is fading. Rick is terrified by the idea that he's a has-been. The fear isn't just about losing work, it's about losing identity. For Rick, acting isn't a job, it's who he is. Despite his desperation, Rick is deeply talented. One of the most compelling scenes in the film shows him berating himself in his trailer for flubbing lines. He's angry, humiliated, and on the verge of a breakdown. But when he returns to set, he delivers a powerhouse performance that leaves even the young actress across from him in awe. This scene encapsulates Rick's complexity: self-loathing off-screen, magnetic on-screen. He has the skill, but his confidence is crumbling. Rick is rarely alone. His best friend and stunt double, Cliff Booth, is his constant companion and emotional anchor. Cliff drives him around, fixes things at his house, and listens to his anxieties without judgment. Their relationship is symbiotic. Cliff depends on Rick for work, and Rick depends on Cliff for emotional survival. It's one of the most grounded friendships in Tarantino's filmography, highlighting how Hollywood personas are often propped up by unseen support systems. Rick's arc takes a turn when he accepts an offer to film spaghetti westerns in Italy. Though initially reluctant, this period revives his career slightly and introduces a turning point. He returns, married, slightly more centered, and with a renewed sense of possibility, but his place in Hollywood remains uncertain. The climax of Rick's journey doesn't come from a career breakthrough, but from a violent showdown with the Madsen family. In a fictional rewriting of history, the would-be killers who murdered Sharon Tate instead attack Rick and Cliff's house. Cliff handles the attackers with brutal efficiency, and Rick finishes the last one with a flamethrower, a callback to his old war film, The 14 Fists of McCluskey. The absurdity of the moment contrasts with the gravity of real history, but for Rick, it becomes symbolic. He's not just acting anymore, he's a hero in real life. After the attack, Sharon Tate invites Rick into her home. This small gesture suggests a new chapter, 12, a connection to the future of Hollywood, not just its fading past. Rick's story isn't about reclaiming fame, but about proving to himself that he still matters. By the end, he's not the same man who cried in his pool about being washed up. He stepped into something new, undefined, but filled with possibility. Jackie Brown. Jackie Brown is the titular character in Jackie Brown, Quentin Tarantino's adaptation of Elmore Leonard's novel, Rum Punch. Played by Pam Grier, Jackie is a 44-year-old flight attendant who becomes the quiet center of a high-stakes game between criminals and law enforcement. She isn't flashy or violent like many Tarantino characters. Her weapon is intelligence, and her arc is one of quiet rebellion and self-liberation. Jackie works for a budget Mexican airline and supplements her low income by smuggling money for Ordell Robbie, a smooth-talking arms dealer. She's caught by the ATF and faces the possibility of prison or worse. But rather than panic or break down, Jackie calculates. She knows she's being squeezed from both sides and decides to play everyone against each other. Her plan isn't about revenge, it's about survival and freedom. Jackie's age and experience set her apart. Hollywood often sidelines women past a certain age, but Jackie defies that norm. She's tired but not broken. She's seen the system and knows how to maneuver within it. Her gender and race lead others to underestimate her, and she uses that to her advantage. She's constantly assessing, reading people, and staying 2 steps ahead without ever appearing threatening. Her relationship with Max Cherry, a world-weary bail bondsman, adds emotional depth to her arc. Max is the only character who sees Jackie clearly and treats her with respect. Their scenes are quiet and understated, filled with unspoken understanding. Max admires her not because she's flashy, but because she's real, pragmatic, strong, and honest. Jackie never uses him, but she does involve him, trusting that he'll do the right thing without needing to be manipulated. The core of Jackie's plan revolves around stealing $500,000 from Ordell without alerting either him or the police. She stages a double cross at a shopping mall, using a series of switches and misdirections to hide the real money. It's not a high-octane heist, it's a carefully choreographed maneuver executed with precision. Jackie's calm during the operation is what makes it work. She doesn't rely on brute force or firepower. Her weapon is control of her emotions, of the situation, and of the people around her. What makes Jackie Brown so compelling is that she wins. In a genre where women often serve as accessories or victims, Jackie walks away with the money and her life. She doesn't kill anyone. She doesn't burn bridges unnecessarily. She outsmarts everyone and drives off. Singing along to Bobby Womack's Across 110th Street, a woman finally in charge of her own destiny, Jackie Brown is a unique figure in Tarantino's body of work. She's not fueled by vengeance or chaos. She's methodical, mature, and deeply human. Her strength lies in subtlety, and her story is one of endurance, dignity, and self-determination. In a world of criminals, cops, and con men, Jackie stands tall, not because she's loud, but because she's unshakably steady. Butch Coolidge. Butch Coolidge is a washed-up boxer at the center of one of Pulp Fiction's most layered storylines. Played by Bruce Willis, Butch is not the slick or stylized criminal typical of Tarantino's world. He's grounded, old school, and driven by pride and principle. His arc is one of betrayal, survival, and ultimately, reluctant heroism. Butch is introduced as a man past his prime. He's approached by Marcellus Wallace, a feared crime boss, and is paid to throw a fight in the 5th round. Butch agrees, but instead of going down, he double-crosses Marcellus by knocking his opponent out cold, fatally. The motivation is simple: pride and money. He placed a bet on himself through intermediaries, and the payout is substantial. Butch isn't just trying to win back his dignity, he's trying to escape the life of a failed athlete with nothing to show for his pain. The turning point in Butch's arc comes with a gold watch, a family heirloom passed down through generations. The watch is more than just a timepiece. It's a symbol of legacy and sacrifice. His father died in a POW camp to ensure that Butch could inherit it. When Butch's girlfriend forgets to pack it before they flee town, he risks everything to retrieve it. This decision is illogical but emotionally charged. The watch represents everything. Butch refuses to surrender. Returning to his apartment, Butch finds Vincent Vega waiting with a gun. In a stroke of dark comedy and timing, he kills Vincent using a silenced weapon left on the kitchen counter. Butch doesn't gloat. He doesn't linger. He understands the consequences and moves with purpose. The real shift in Butch's character comes when he runs into Marcellus Wallace in the street. A chaotic chase leads both men into a pawn shop, where they're captured by 2 sadistic men, Maynard and Zed. What follows is one of the most disturbing sequences in the film. Marcellus is sexually assaulted, and Butch escapes. He could flee, but he doesn't. Instead, he returns, armed with a katana, and rescues Marcellus. In doing so, he shifts from self-serving survivor to unexpected savior. Butch's rescue of Marcellus changes everything. Marcellus spares him and allows him to leave town without consequence, as long as he never returns. This moment redefines Butch's arc. He's not a hero in the traditional sense, but his decision to act when it mattered most gives his story weight. He redeems himself not through words, but through action. Throughout Pulp Fiction, Butch operates on a different wavelength than characters like Jules or Vincent. He's quieter, more internalized. His values, family, honor, personal code, make him stand out in a world driven by money and ego. He doesn't wax philosophical. He doesn't quote scripture. But he's one of the few characters who walks away from the chaos with his integrity intact. Mr. White. Mr. White, whose real name is Larry Dimmick, is the moral backbone of Reservoir Dogs, or at least, as close to one as Quentin Tarantino allows in a story about violent criminals. Played by Harvey Keitel, Mr. White is a seasoned professional with a code of honor that stands in stark contrast to the chaos and mistrust that define the film's narrative. From the moment he enters the warehouse, Mr. White asserts himself as the most competent and level-headed member of the group. The heist has gone wrong, the police were tipped off, shots were fired, people died, and Mr. White is trying to hold things together. He arrives with the bleeding Mr. Orange, believing him to be a loyal colleague who was shot in the escape. Mr. White treats him not just as a partner, but as someone worth protecting, even cradling him like a wounded friend. That image, of a hardened criminal showing genuine concern, defines the core of Mr. White's character. He isn't sentimental, but he believes in professionalism and loyalty. His decisions are pragmatic, but they're also rooted in a sense of personal ethics. He's disgusted by Mr. Blonde's psychotic behavior and isn't afraid to confront him. When Mr. Blonde pulls a stunt, like torturing a cop, Mr. White doesn't hesitate to pull a gun on him. His moral compass may be skewed by the criminal world he operates in, but it's intact. Tension escalates as the warehouse becomes a pressure cooker of suspicion and paranoia. Mr. White is convinced Mr. Orange isn't the rat. He defends him against Mr. Pink's accusations, risking the group's fragile unity. This loyalty is both his greatest strength and his fatal flaw. He trusts too easily, and he trusts the wrong person. Mr. Orange, as we later learn, is the undercover cop. Mr. White's relationship with Mr. Orange is more than just operational. He sees himself in the younger man, possibly viewing him as a surrogate son or a symbol of the professionalism he values. That emotional connection blinds him to the truth, even as evidence mounts. His refusal to accept the betrayal shows the limits of his rationality. He clings to his belief in loyalty, even as it leads him toward destruction. The climax of Reservoir Dogs delivers one of Tarantino's most gut-wrenching turns. When Joe Cabot arrives and identifies Mr. Orange as the traitor, Mr. White refuses to believe it. Guns are drawn. In a flurry of gunfire, Joe, nice guy Eddie, and potentially Mr. White himself all go down. The final scene is Mr. White holding a dying Mr. Orange, who finally confesses the truth. Mr. White's devastation is visible. In a world built on deception and mistrust, his emotional investment has destroyed him. We don't explicitly see Mr. White die, but we hear the gunshots after he puts his gun to Mr. Orange's head. Whether he kills him or not is ambiguous, but the emotional truth is clear. Mr. White's code, which seemed noble compared to the others, led him to ruin. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and subscribe. I've got a lot more content coming. Thanks for watching.